Hi, I'm Peter Mezet, and welcome to Great Gardens. Today we're going to talk about decorations for the holidays. And we're going to focus in on the living things, the wreaths, the kissing balls, the centerpieces. And we're going to talk to Henry Schmidt, who has years of experience with making these things, and he'll tell you what you can make at home or what can be purchased for the holidays from your local garden center. So let's go. Hi, we're at the holiday shop here at Weston Nurseries, as we call it, and this is where all the magic happens, where we set up in back of our greenhouse and we make a lot of holiday decorations. And Henry Schmidt has been doing it for Weston Nurseries for 43 years. There's nobody knows more about holiday decorations than Henry. So I'm going to let Henry do a lot of talking, but first I just want to ask you some general questions regarding the holidays and decorations. What do you find are some of the most popular decorations for the holidays, Henry?
Well, I think people now are going into using everything. It's really a great time, I think, to prune your shrubs a little bit and get assorted greens. We try and use a lot of our own plant materials, so it is fresh, from yellow to hollies to boxwood and all the different greens, fern spray, cypress, and some of the others, and that's what gives great texture.
And many of these things, like the fern spray cypress, are available in your own yard, and we tend to take cuttings from our nursery.
Correct.
And you're working on a wreath right here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Here I've taken a basic balsam wreath and I've inserted arborvitae here. There is white pine. I have some of this fern spray cypress, and it depends on the effect that you would like. We're going to do a mixed green. What brightens things up, like it does in every garden, is a touch of yellow. Some people don't like yellow, and it depends what additional things that can be added to it. But yellow just makes all the other greens pop if done correctly. We also use Leucothea and boxwood, but when we use the broadleafed evergreens like boxwood, Leucothea, I think at home you'd have to use wilt-proof in on the holly. This would seal them and make them last a lot longer.
Right.
Even though we use Crown and Glory, which isn't available to everybody.
Okay.
But wilt-proof does the same thing.
Same thing. And the base of these wreaths are usually, what are they, balsam?
Balsam.
Sometimes pine,
right.
Sometimes boxwood, but most commonly balsam.
A balsam wreath.
And this is something that people can do themselves, because you can buy these balsam wreaths,
right,
and they come wrapped in wire.
Right.
And how are you doing it?
We use a very hot glue and a glue pot that can take the skin right off of you, of course. But we use it because it does dry within 10 seconds.
10 seconds?
And it's there. It's dry. See, you cannot pull that out.
Look at that.
Right,
I didn't realize that.
It's hooked in it. As long as the wreath is dry.
You gotta make sure you don't get it on your hands.
Yes, it will take the skin right off you.
Yeah, yeah. So, but people can get that product and use that at home as well?
Well, it's easier, but you can. You need a pot to do it. It needs to be kept at a certain temperature.
Okay.
If it's too low, it gets stringy.
Okay.
Otherwise, it works well.
So we usually use the balsam back, and people can do this at home, which costs not that much, $5–10.
Right,
and then all these
size wreath.
Right, and then this is probably a 14-inch.
That's a 10.
10? Oh, it's small. You go by the ring.
Correct.
Okay.
The ring size,
not the outside
size.
All right, so a 10-inch wreath, $5 or $10, and then really making it into a $50 wreath.
Correct.
Pretty easily by taking cuttings from around your home. And
then, of course, some people like it brighter, so we do have balls, some natural tones, for those that want it very golden.
You're known for your glitz and glamour.
That's it. Well, you know, a lot of people that decorate very softly and plainly, when it comes to the Christmas that they want to carry into New Year, this is the time for them to go all out.
Right, right.
Glitter it up, make it seem. And if you have a big house and it's far from the road, you need this in order for this to be seen, whether it incorporates into the ribbon or not.
Right.
And even though you may have one ribbon on, a lot of people are decorating around Thanksgiving time. They can use one color ribbon. When it comes Christmas, you can change the bow to another for a fresh look. And New Year's, you can add a lot of pop by really going way out there.
Now that you've brought up bows, I think that is one of the most appealing aspects of Christmas decorations, especially wreaths. And bow making is something you've done for 43 years.
Yes.
Why don't we talk to our viewers about how they can make a bow at home.
All
Maybe you
right.
could demonstrate that.
I like to use wired ribbon. Could you put the wreath up
Sure.
there too? And wired ribbon, of course, it is weatherproof, and there's wire on both sides.
Okay.
And this is what holds the ribbon in place, so that the rain won't tear it apart.
So wired ribbon, is that something that people can find easily?
Yes, we
Okay.
sell it. We
Yep.
even make bows for people. You can see how stiff the
Yep,
edge is.
yep.
And this is, depending on the size of the bow and the length of the tail, it takes an average of 3 yards
Okay.
to make a bow. A lot of people twist. I learned it to be pinched. I think you get a fuller bow if you pinch and gather than do the twist, and you have more control over the shape of the bow. This will be a little, so the outer petals are shorter. The inner petals, you can see, are shorter in proportion, and one overlayers the other. Here, why don't I just put that down there
Okay.
out of the way. This, you try and match the edge, so I'm doing 3 in back, and where I'm using the longest strings, this is probably about a 4.5 yard bow.
Okay. And you feel strongly about making your own bows. Talk to our viewers about that. You
well,
can buy finished bows, but
I
they just
think
don't
they're
compare.
fresh. Yes, and I know people take ribbon, and you can do it at home, as you know, and people do re-iron it.
Okay.
But you can always tell when it has been re-ironed. It's not perky. Can you save a bow if it isn't bad? Yes. You can stuff this with tissue in here to keep it fluffy.
Okay.
But once it goes too flat, it just loses its shape. And I have been a flower show judge for a long period of time, and we have had people that reused ribbon that have lost from first place. The thing was deserving, but you could see all the creases in the ribbon. You can see what was bended and flat.
And you'll put that comment right on there.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
And that can do. And you want to pull it as tight as you can so it puckers up. And you can see you have a well-rounded.
And do you call that a 6 or an 8 bow wreath? What do you call that?
This is a 10 loop.
10 loop. Okay.
6 in the back, 4 in the middle.
And about 4.5 yards, depending on how long you want the string.
And how large the petals are, too. This could be done the same way, you know, with only 3 loops, 2 in the
Okay.
back, 1 in the middle, which make a small bow. But
Okay.
this is a fairly big wreath, and so we have got this
And you just wrap it
on
around.
here. We're going to tie it up, not too tight, because a lot of people like to change ribbon, and we do change ribbon. However, that could change the price of the wreath, because, say, for instance, this is a $2 a yard bow. The one on that Huggy over there is a $5 a yard bow.
Okay.
So that will make the difference as what it goes. Now, this wreath
Why don't
is,
you hold it
is
up?
going to be it's an
beautiful.
oval wreath
Oh, yeah, look at
with
that.
natural color.
Now, why would somebody
natural
want an
berries.
oval wreath like
To
that?
go in the door knocker, maybe in the middle.
Okay.
Just to go maybe even on the side of a door around a lamp that may be here, or just for a different shape.
Right. And you do make a lot of custom order wreaths.
We do a lot of custom order, from very simple to very bright and gay. Now, that wreath over there is, I did, which is a half wreath.
Let me grab that.
This would be on the door for those that want to be a little more avant-garde, maybe, or it would go around a door knocker. See, like this,
Yeah.
like a half moon
almost
made
crescent.
with a smaller
Smaller bow.
bow on it. This ribbon is narrower with a gold back. We have all types of ribbon
That's nice.
here in all different price ranges.
Yep. And then that reminds me of
do.
the mailbox Huggy. Let me go grab
Right.
that.
Do you want to finish the mailbox, Huggy, Annie?
Is this done?
No, I was going to put some rose hips on it.
Okay, maybe we can just bring the camera over here.
And just,
So this is a popular thing people do as well, is
Yes.
put this around their mailboxes at the end of their driveway.
Right.
And I'm noticing this is backed with
That's
tape.
a wet frame.
Right. Why don't you talk about how
and
that works?
That's sphagnum moss that you can put into a frame, wrap it with plastic tape, and this will actually keep the greens in there fresh up until Easter.
And it kind of freezes along with the weather and maintains the moisture.
They get moisture. We do a lot of holly wreaths. We used to make a lot of these frames. They are expensive to do.
Right.
But we still have a lot of orders for holly wreaths, and that's one of the best way to keep holly fresh.
Okay. But you were working on a dry wreath.
This actually is on one of those frames.
That's one of those
that
too.
That half
Okay.
one is one of those frames.
Let me bring this over. We can talk about centerpieces. And I don't even know what you call this.
That is the base for a boxwood tree
Okay, so this is for a boxwood tree, and we have a finished one.
for the house, and they come in all different colors and forms. This is what we use for our fresh boxwood, and I believe we're going to have a class on this coming up,
Okay.
where people are going to come in and can make their own boxwood tree.
I bet that's popular. People coming in and doing it themselves, and we charge a fee for that,
We
for the
charge
materials.
a fee for the materials to
Right.
do, and they can go decorate it anything you want. We have all these different things that
Mm-hmm.
we'll have available for them when they come in to decorate the tree. And the only thing is that this too will last for about 4 weeks in the house. If you remember, when you water, don't just fill this dish up, because you have this big piece of foam coming up here. You need to water from the top.
I can feel this
So-
is wet, so...
Right, but feel out here. Very wet down here, drier up here.
Right, right.
So when you water, you need to water from the top,
Okay.
and so this will remain moist.
So this should be in a bigger bowl,
No,
you're
it
saying?
won't matter.
Oh, it won't matter? The
No,
water will
because
stay?
this is so high.
Oh, okay.
This will hold it. It will always be very moist from here down.
Okay.
But from here up, so when you add more water to it in the house once or twice a week, you need to water it from the top so this stays moist.
Right here. Just put it right
through
in the
there.
top.
Yes.
And just trickle it down so it
Just
doesn't leak.
trickle it down.
Okay.
Yes. Now these we do spray. Remember, this is boxwood. It's one of the broadleafed evergreens.
So boxwood, holly, things like that you need to spray.
And any of these you need to spray. And the easiest thing for the homeowner is with that sprayer, wilt-proof.
Wilt-proof.
That will hold.
And
them
you're not as
keep them
worried
from
about
drying
the
out.
spraying with the evergreens,
No.
more the broadleaf.
No,
Okay.
no. We are one of the few places, or probably the only place, that we dip all our wreaths in wilt-proof,
Oh,
so they won't dry out.
okay. That makes a big
Before
difference.
they go out, it makes a big difference.
Right.
When we went from doing all wet wreaths to using these dry wreaths,
Mm-hmm.
we dip them in wilt-proof.
Okay. Yeah, I know
And
it's
that
almost a
holds the
full-time
needles
job
up.
here.
Yeah.
Well, that's great, Henry. I think you showed a good cross-section of decorations for the holidays. And, oh, that's right. We're going to talk about a couple more
Oh,
things, and then we'll go
This is
outside.
one of our winter baskets that we do with a lot of
Thanks,
fresh assorted greens that we have here. And we have a wide range of pine cones that we use ourselves here, including the one from this Japanese white pine, out on the corner.
Is that what these are right here?
There is, no, that is a Norway spruce.
Okay.
The Japanese white pine cones is this here.
Oh,
We've
yeah.
cut some branches off to use the
Yep.
green.
Yep.
We are very fortunate to have in here too some blue atlas cedar from
Oh, yeah.
our own big trees that we use that will give a nice texture and a very modern flair to centerpieces and other things.
Don't
because
cut,
it's so
don't cut
open
too
and
much. I think
loose.
we want to sell this one next year.
No, that's from the ones out front.
Oh, okay.
We pruned the big ones.
Oh, yeah, the
out
big
there.
one.
No, we don't touch the little ones.
So this is a very nice piece. It's got a good color combination. Why don't
Right.
you just talk about what you have in
We
here?
put wet sand in here
Okay.
to moist, and you can keep it. It freezes in to hold it. We have fir tucked in here.
Yep.
We have white pine. We have cryptomeria.
Yep, that's
which
the
is probably
Japanese cedar.
Cedar. Thread cypress.
Right. This one's
which
Cripseye, or is
yellow.
this
No, that is
gold spangle?
Phylifera. This is Phylifera aurea. This is gold spangle.
Okay.
These are frosted pine cones and
And then the
winterberry.
winterberry. The
Yeah,
berries
so,
really
yeah.
do hold up pretty well,
They
don't they?
do until the birds get them.
Yeah.
But when they're in here and they're in a little moisture, it's a great thing to work with.
And this is designed for the outside.
For the outside, or you could use it inside too,
Okay.
because you need to put a saucer under it.
Right,
Initially, they started out as just being for the cemetery.
right.
But we call them winter baskets rather than memorial baskets because they're great to have on a deck or a patio or a stone wall or on your front stairs. It will say fresh.
Yep.
Now, this is something too, if you have a big urn near your door that you've had annuals in all summer,
Right.
you can, rather than remove the urn, you can come and get an assortment of greens.
And put sand in the urn the same
Put
way.
sand in
Yeah.
the urn and give as much height. We have several urns out here done that we do, and people bring them in, and we also do them here for them to take home.
Let's go take a look outside at the urns and some of the live plants for the
All right.
holidays as well. That was great, Henry. Thank you. All right, so in our hands, Henry, we've got a couple things we didn't talk about inside, and one is this roping, this pine roping.
Right. This
It's about 25 yards of roping I'm holding, right?
It's very flexible, probably one of the easier one to curl. We have about 6 or 7 different varieties of roping, from mountain laurel to fir to cypress and cedar. This is good for both indoors and outdoors.
Okay.
To wrap over, I wouldn't put over a fireplace.
No.
But railings and doorways and things, if you want that nice fresh smell of green.
We put it right over our outside door, too.
Right.
Another good spot.
And mailbox
Yeah.
with your
yeah.
Huggy over the top. And we have a lot of kissing balls. These were made popular in Williamsburg era. We put ribbons underneath, berries, cones on here, and some artificial mistletoe, because you used to be able to stop and kiss your sweetie on the street in Williamsburg, because
Okay.
they had all these kissing balls, and they come in boxwood also.
Okay. Yep. So you
For
decorate
another
these very
different-
similarly to the other things.
Correct, with long streamers hanging down on them.
Let me hang this up. And then we're going to talk about some live plants. Let's start way over here.
All right.
This is a container that was just spruced up around the outside, but the middle part, this dwarf Alberta spruce, is permanent.
Right, it is permanent. Now we have Alberta spruce, and if you look here, we have a blue juniper that is done the same way. And this was full of annuals earlier. Then there were some small mums for the fall. And then once they come out, we stuck it with fresh cut greens. It's in soil, this is, not in sand.
Okay. Yeah.
There is some nice dark soil in here, but it holds the moisture.
And you could do this in sand if you didn't have this living in it. You
Correct.
would do this in sand.
And the same assortment, whatever you would like to put in there. Whether you want just white pine and berries, whether you want more yellow or more blue around to pick the blue up of the urn, there's no limit to what you can do and
Right.
put in here with your fresh greens.
Right. I really like the idea of something
And
permanent
they
in the
will
middle.
stay fresh until almost Easter time
Okay.
in
Okay.
here.
And other things that could be purchased for the holidays in terms of live plants. What do we have here? A fir?
We have fir. Here is one of those junipers, dwarf blue spruce, holly, variegated holly, some dwarf conifers back in here.
Now let's talk about,
Boxwood.
out of these plants here, we all know the dwarf Alberta spruce is a tough plant that can live through the winter in these conditions in Massachusetts. The blue spruce should be able to survive that
Blue
as well,
spruce
right?
will survive. The boxwood will also survive.
Some varieties, not
Some
all.
varieties, not the dwarf English
Okay.
or any of the real dwarfs, but the
Okay.
other boxwood should have no problem.
And the juniper is fairly
And
hardy.
the juniper will too.
Okay, so all good ideas for live plants
Right.
for your urns.
But it also depends what you can put in on the size of the bowl of the urn,
Right.
because the bigger the ball and dirt around it, the more protected it's going to be.
Right.
Now you can also buy insulated pots that we have that are
Oh.
more fiberglass in nature, in urn-shaped or more unusual shapes.
And plants will
that
have
you
better
can do.
survivability.
They will survive, but not ceramic.
Right. Right. Right.
Ceramic is not the way to do.
And then we have some little miniature plants. Some of these aren't really miniatures; they will grow up to be bigger, but they're small size. And what
That
are
is
people?
true.
What are people doing with these
And
around the
these
holidays?
are great to give as gifts to a shut-in, take to a hospital over flowers. We put foil around them, or we can wrap them in burlap like we have done here. with a bow on it. They use them as gifts if you're having a party, so all your guests, one per family, could go home with
Take it
something
home.
as remembrance of the party.
I like it
and
better than cut flowers that
try
don't
and
last
go
very
out in
long.
the garden. That's
And if you
true.
take care of these inside the right way, which I think you want to acclimate them back to the outside if you want to
Right.
give them a chance to live in the spring.
Right. If you're not too good at watering, I would say it's best to move them out into a cool place, a breezeway, a cellarway or something, because they are dormant. They don't need a lot of sun to be good, and they should look like this so you can put them out into your garden in the springtime.
Good.
That
Okay, well that's a good assortment of live plants to purchase for holiday decoration purposes. We're going to go in and pick a...
And then
oh yeah,
here,
before we do.
this is an urn that was completely filled with annuals. Now it is full of sand.
Okay.
This is curly willow that we have sprayed.
Right.
Here, red. There again, white pine, berries. There is some reserve holly, which we have sprayed. So it will be arborvitae, cypress, cedar, boulevard cypress, to give a nice collection. And if you water this at least once a week until it freezes tight, this too should stay fresh until Easter time.
Okay, so this is the option with nothing living, but they're all, in a sense, they're living.
Yes,
And
indeed.
they're going to stay alive for quite a while.
Right.
Let's go inside real quickly and take a look at a few indoor plants.
All right. Now, these make great gifts. These have the pot and everything in them. These are amaryllis in all different colors and shapes and sizes. You can also buy, if you have a pot, the bulb yourself. The bigger the bulb is, the more blooms you're going to have from it. And you can see that even though this one is not potted, the flower bud has already started
That's
to
amazing.
come up. And here's another bud here. The leaves will come in between. And you only plant these halfway up. They're good for 2 or 3 years. The secret is, once the flowers go by, is to cut them off and feed them once a week with a blossom booster fertilizer.
Even after you cut the flowers
after
off?
it. Because feel that bulb, you can see how firm it is.
Yeah.
Now feel this one, you can see it's getting a little soft,
Right.
because the flower bud is in there and it's taking the nourishment out of the bulb.
Okay.
So the whole secret is to put it in a deep pot, grow this and feed it, so this bulb will get back to this size or even larger.
Okay.
And that's what this done through the foliage and the feeding.
So
And-
amaryllis is a classic holiday gift or
Correct.
flower. And I also see that they plant them mostly in sand substrate, right?
No,
Isn't it?
halfway in soil, light potting
Oh,
soil.
it's just regular soil?
Yes,
Okay.
halfway. The paper whites are the ones that get in sand and stone.
Those are sand, okay.
And that's just a one-shot deal.
All right.
And that is it. But this is a great gift, even if you have it started this
Right.
way for them.
Right.
You could even wrap this up in a nice little bag, no pot, and let them pot them up themselves.
So amaryllis is what we end up spending most of our time talking about, because it really is kind of a classic holiday
And they're
gift.
enormous blooms. They can be 10, 11 inches
I know.
across.
It's always so
on stem,
surprising to see that
with
when it
5
emerges.
blooms per stem.
Right.
Hi. The season to be jolly is almost upon us, and a great many of us celebrate with cut greens and a variety of cut materials, cut plant materials to decorate our houses. And I thought maybe it'd be worth giving a few tips on how to help those materials stay nice and fresh for the length of time that you're going to need them. Basically, it depends on what material you're talking about. You've got anything from a cut Christmas tree to greens and garlands, or maybe a wreath, or maybe a flower arrangement for the table. And so depending on what that material it is, you might treat it differently. Let's talk about cut Christmas trees for a minute. The single biggest thing that you have to keep in mind is that when you bring it home, it needs a fresh cut at the bottom, and it needs to go into water as soon as humanly possible. You'll be amazed by how much that tree can suck up water now that it's had the chance to drink again. It's been disconnected from the planet for probably well over a month and shipped from somewhere. So need to check the water in that container. The reservoir in tree stands is real small. Probably check it twice a day. Keep your tree or any live greens, if at all possible, away from real bright light or from any direct source of heat. So a fireplace is kind of a difficult place for anything. Near a radiator or a heat vent, if you can avoid that. If you can keep your rooms at about 70 degrees or cooler, that's a great idea too, because it keeps those materials from losing as much water through their surfaces. Materials that are put in oasis, so like in a flower arrangement where there's that foam sort of material at the center of the arrangement, that's something that you just need to water regularly, the same way that you would water a bouquet. If you're talking about outdoor greens, those that are hanging on a shadier side of the house are going to do better in the long run than those on the sunnier side. So you want to put a wreath out on the sunny side of your house, you might want to buy an anti-transparent spray. One brand name is Wilt-Pruf. We've talked about it before. It's kind of like chapstick for plants. Make sure that you spray it on and let it dry in the sun. It won't be tacky at all. You can also use Wilt-Pruf or any anti-transparent for indoor greens as well. That's great for something like garland that doesn't have a chance to sit in water and soak up additional water through its stems. So again, spray it, let it dry completely, and you won't have that tackiness problem that if you use it too soon, it can be kind of sticky. Let it dry completely, preferably in the sun, and you won't have that problem at all. So that's just really a couple of tips. Basically, the concepts are keep it moist and keep it cool, and try if you can to keep it not in the blazing hot sun, and happy holidays.
Well, thank you for watching today's show. That was a lot of stuff to cover, and I hope you learned a lot. I sure did. There's a lot you can do for the holidays. You can do a lot yourself. You can go to your local garden center and purchase a lot of products as well. So I hope you got some good ideas, and if you have any topics you'd like to see us cover in the future, please send us an email, or if you'd like Ann to cover any topics, please send us an email about that as well. So thank you, and we'll see you again next time.
My hydroponics system and design. I live in Arizona where 90% of the cost of an apple is transportation costs. Why are we shipping apples to Arizona? We have to bring in produce that's not grown here. But what if we could grow our own at home? It would be nice to save 90% on apples, peppers, and tomatoes too. I was in the grocery store and I saw a sign, $4 per pound for tomatoes. Am I buying tomatoes, or is this prime rib? If prices continue to go up, old people will be eating cat food. Grow your own and tell the grocery store that $4 a pound is too much for tomatoes. Bell peppers in that grocery store were $1 each in July. Peppers used to be 3 for $1, not 1. Soon peppers will cost $3 each. That's 9 times more than 3 for $1. What do you do if you live in a warm climate, have plenty of water and garden area, and an abundance of sunshine? You grow 2 garden favorites, bell peppers and tomatoes. I like peppers and tomatoes because both can be dried if I don't have an immediate use for them. Peppers can be frozen and put on pizza and in sandwiches, sauces, casseroles, and cooked with meats and onions. Peppers are also loaded with vitamin C. Tomatoes are delicious when eaten raw in salads and sandwiches, but are also great on salsa or on pizza, cooked in sauces, rice dishes. Tomatoes can be canned for later use as well. One plant can give you many peppers or tomatoes and save you a lot of money if you don't have to pay the produce market to ship them from a great distance. Now what if I told you that I can grow 800 plants in the space of 12 feet by 1 foot? 12 square feet. Each plant can produce 14 bell peppers on average. If each pepper is worth $1, how much is that? 11,200 peppers valued at $11,200. That's just one season. Where I live there are 4 seasons, and I can grow things every month. In fact, December is the month when I can grow the most things, believe it or not. June is the month that I can grow the least number of things, but I can still grow squash and melons. Watermelon, cantaloupe, and dozens of other melons from around the world. If you have the space to grow 800 plants, you can grow a lot of different edible things. Lettuce, radishes, watermelon, cantaloupe, cucumbers, tomatoes, basil, thyme, parsley, cilantro, spinach, peas, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, chard, arugula, and endive, to name a few. Each is useful to the individual, and if you grow more than you need, you can trade with neighbors. Cucumbers will not go to waste. You put them in vinegar and eat them anytime. Anyone can grow 35 tons of tomatoes on an acre of ground. That's 70,000 pounds of tomatoes, worth about $2 per pound or more. If stored tomatoes are $2 a pound and it costs money for gasoline to go there, do you think you could compete with a price of $2 per pound? Save the gasoline to go there and you're already at an advantage, even at $2 a pound. You can sell profitably to your neighbors at half the store price. Old people can have tomatoes with their cat food. Maybe they can stay alive that way. How about 50 cents per pound and create an avalanche of customers coming to you for the bargains? You can deliver them for cash and say, "We do accept silver coins." How many silver coins can you buy with $35,000? That's about 897 ounces of pure silver, or 9 silver bars, 100 ounces each. I have designed a hydroponic system that can grow a lot of food in very little space, using very little water and fertilizer, and makes a lot of money. Arranged north to south, one side gets morning sun, the other side gets sun in the afternoon. Each will rest in the shade part of the day. I don't sell this unit, I'm just telling you about my design and the potential of it. This device grows 72 plants per square foot of footprint simultaneously, and there are 4 seasons each year. The seeds are worth more than the bell pepper itself, so you eat the pepper and sell the seeds. 1 foot width, 6 foot height, 12 feet long. 864 plants in a footprint of just 12 square feet. Very little water is used. Fertilizer does not go to waste or foul your groundwater. A single hydroponic unit, which is 12 feet long, 1 feet wide, planted all in peppers, with an expected average of 14 peppers per plant, has the potential to produce $48,384 worth of bell peppers annually. 1 unit. With profits like this, one could rent space in a shopping center or office building with grow lights. $48,384 is enough to pay for 80 more hydroponic systems identical to the unit that produced the first profits. These units don't take up much room. There's enough room for 900 of these hydroponic systems per acre, capable of producing $43 million worth of crops per acre. Lettuce will give you a crop in 30 days, so you get 12 crops a year, but only 1 plant at a value of $1. That's $9,600 annually, and not as good as peppers. Leave a walk path of just 3 feet between structures, and there's a capacity of 900,000 plants on a parcel the size of mine, 1.25 acres, with 1,125 units and room to walk. That's 726,000 plants per acre. A plant matures in 90 days, so there are 4 crops per year. And this means over 2.9 million plants per acre per year, maybe. Tomatoes are often $2 a pound. Bell peppers are $1 each. 1 plant grows 14 peppers, so does it pay to grow your own with a system like this? The black lines feed water directly to each plant root. Water goes back to the source via PVC lines, which contain the root system. The pump goes on as water is needed, and the water contains all the nutrients that the plant needs. The pH is also tuned to the plant's needs. Most plants grow best in a slightly acidic solution. If all your neighbors want grapevines and blueberry bushes, why not grow them from seeds? Blueberries are a delicacy. People are paying as much for blueberries as they pay for steak. A grape seed isn't worth much. You get 2 or 3 from each grape. It comes with the grape and people spit them out. I plant them. When the grape seed sprouts, it becomes valuable. It grows fast, and when it's knee-high, it's worth $1 or so. If you don't sell it, it grows and it's worth $8 soon. If you have the space, why not start some grapevines? If you buy peaches, plums, nectarines, lemons, oranges, tangerines, or grapefruit, why don't you plant the seeds and see what happens? For all the plants mentioned here, you need a slightly acidic soil. Potatoes and other root plants need a soil that's quite acidic. That means low pH. You can control the pH when you have a hydroponic system and no soil. Soil contains salts and you don't need them. If your hydroponic garden is indoors, then you can also control the light. The plant grows best in part of the electromagnetic spectrum, and so you give it what it needs when it needs it. Sunlight is too harsh for many plants, and the seasons control you. When you use your own lights, you control the seasons, fooling the plant into thinking this is summer and it's time to grow. Start with a single unit, $600 cost, and use the profits to buy more materials to make hydroponic units. If the cost of $600 per unit is too much to invest, start with a row of 36 at a cost of $27. If that's too much, begin with a single plant at a cost of 75 cents for the cost of materials. That's less than 1 can of cat food. You can eat cat food or you can eat bell peppers and tomatoes. Use the space you have and grow your own. That's my idea. Use it to have a better life.